Welcome back to This Day in Irish History. I'm your host, Raymond Welsh. Before we dive into today's story, if you'd like to explore other significant events that happened on this day in Irish history, visit thisdayirishhistory.com. The link is in the episode description. Now, let's journey back to March 20th, 14, a day that shook the foundations of British rule in Ireland and revealed the deep fault lines within the British Army itself, the Curragh Incident. As tensions over Irish Home Rule reached a boiling point in the early 20th century, Britain faced a political crisis unlike any before. The Third Home Rule Bill, introduced in 1912, promised a measure of self-government for Ireland, a long-sought goal of Irish nationalists. However, this move was fiercely opposed by the Ulster Unionists, who viewed Home Rule as a direct threat to their British identity and feared domination by a Catholic majority Dublin government. The Ulster Volunteer Force, UVF, a paramilitary group formed in 1913, made it clear they would resist Home Rule by force if necessary. Against this volatile backdrop, the British government prepared to maintain order and enforce Home Rule, if needed, through military action. This decision led to a shocking act of defiance at Curragh Camp in County Kildare, the main base of the British Army in Ireland. On March 20th, 1914, General Sir Arthur Paget, commander of British forces in Ireland, informed officers stationed at Curragh that they might soon be deployed to Ulster to quell any armed resistance from the UVF. Many officers, predominantly Protestant and with personal or familial ties to Ulster, viewed such an order as an unforgivable act against their own people. Paget's statement triggered immediate unrest within the officer ranks. Fearing they would be forced to take arms against Ulster loyalists, 57 officers, led by Brigadier General Hubert Gough, offered to resign rather than carry out orders they saw as politically and morally untenable. This collective act of defiance became known as the Curragh Incident or Curragh Mutiny, and it sent shockwaves through both the military and political establishments in Britain. The British War Office, caught off guard by the extent of the opposition, scrambled to contain the crisis. Prime Minister H. Asquith's government, already struggling to manage the political chaos surrounding Home Rule, realised the potential consequences of a military rebellion. The British Army was expected to be a neutral force, carrying out government policy, not a body influenced by political allegiances. Yet here was undeniable proof that even the military was divided on the Irish question. In an effort to defuse the situation, the British government backed it down, offering assurances that officers would not be forced to act against their conscience. Gough and his fellow officers were reinstated, and the army avoided an outright mutiny, but the damage was done. The Curragh Incident exposed the extent to which Home Rule had fractured not just Irish society, but the entire British establishment. It emboldened the Ulster Unionists, who now saw that they had strong allies within the British Army. Meanwhile, Irish nationalists viewed the episode as yet another example of Britain's unwillingness to treat Ireland's political aspirations with fairness and consistency. If the British Army would not move against armed Unionists, why should nationalists place faith in constitutional means? While the Home Rule crisis continued to escalate, events in Europe would soon overshadow Ireland's internal struggles. Just months later, the outbreak of World War I would postpone the implementation of Home Rule and shift political priorities across the British Empire. But the seeds of future conflict had already been sown. The failure to enforce Home Rule decisively contributed to the radicalisation of Irish nationalist movements, setting the stage for the 1916 Easter Rising and the subsequent War of Independence. The Curragh Incident remains a defining moment in the history of Anglo-Irish relations. It revealed the fragility of British authority in Ireland and foreshadowed the tumultuous years that lay ahead. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Ireland's rich past. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, I'm Raymond Welsh. Slán go fóill.